I'm Jared Fry, General Manager of Medina TV.
Hi, and I'm Jacqueline Rinksmeyer, Executive Director of the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. The mission of the Chamber of Commerce is to serve our member investors and promote business interests through economic development, business advocacy, and member services, which benefits the Greater Medina community. The Chamber is funded by voluntary membership from the business community. It is a not-for-profit, nonpartisan business organization, and we do not receive tax dollars to operate the organization. The Chamber does not endorse candidates, but strives to educate the voters on both the candidates and the issues. And we are pleased to partner with Medina TV to bring these interviews to you. This program would not be possible without this collaboration. So thank you to our interviewer, Jared Fry, and our producer, Matt Tomick.
And as always, the views expressed in these interviews do not necessarily reflect those of Medina TV or the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. We thank you for tuning in to the 2022 Candidates Forum and remind you to vote on November 8th. Joining us now in studio, going for the Court of Appeals 9th District, I'd like to welcome Erica Voorhees. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you, Jared. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Glad you're here today and sharing information with us about you and the running for the Court of Appeals 9th District. Why don't you start off a little bit and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so again, my name is Erica Voorhees. I am currently a magistrate at the Summit County Court of Common Pleas General Division. So what that is the court that hears the higher level felonies, well, all felonies, but particularly, high-level felonies, high controversy cases. So when there's a lot of money at stake in these particular cases, we hear those matters at the Common Pleas Division. I've been there with the judge that I work for, Judge Catherine Michael, since early 2019. Before that, I was her magistrate and judicial attorney back at Akron Municipal Court before she got election to that seat. So I was with her at Akron Municipal Court for about 2 years. So all in all, I've been a magistrate for almost 6 years with her and her judicial attorney. So I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of preparation of jury instructions, I hear all of the civil matters that come through our court. Now I'm doing criminal arraignments every week. Sometimes I sit for the Domestic Violence Intervention Court. And that's what I've been doing, again, since 2016. Before 2016, though, I was a practicing attorney. I was a public defender. And I did that for 11 years since I started my career, and most recently was working with juvenile survivors of human trafficking at the Summit County Juvenile Court. But I would say a little bit of everything in that career experience.
Yeah, well, very well-rounded there. For the viewers at home and the voters, kind of explain what actually happens in the 9th District Court of Appeals, because I know it's something a lot of people really don't know about.
It is, really, and that's something that was always a marked difference for me. When I was early in my career, back in 2005, my first position as an attorney at the Stark County Public Defender's Office, they take their cases from start to finish. So I was expected to appeal cases that I thought had legal errors, and that's really what the 9th District Court of Appeals is. Down in Stark County, it's a different appellate district. It's the 5th appellate district. So they do the same job, but it's a different appellate district, just to be clear. What the courts of appeals do is they review errors or alleged errors that occur at the lower courts, the quote-unquote lower courts, the municipal courts and the county courts. If there's an error that occurs in law there, every person has an appeal of right to the 9th District Court of Appeals. Now, the 9th District currently serves Summit County, Wayne County, Medina County, Lorain County. So that's why a person who works in Summit County is somebody who would be running for the 9th District Court of Appeals. It's a very large district. And as I indicated, I do have some experience arguing and writing appeals. So that's one of my goals, too, in running for the 9th District, is to demystify that whole process. Because even as you indicated, a lot of people don't know what happens there. And the reason is is it's not something that's generally very frequently visited by members of the public. The way the court where I work right now is, or the court where I worked before we came to General Division in 2019. People come and go in that court, not so much at the Court of Appeals. It's more attorneys arguing to the judges. A panel of 3 judges hear each individual case. So they argue to the judges about these errors that they state were made, and then the judges take it under consideration and make a determination amongst the 3 judges and write an opinion. So it also has a longer timetable traditionally than your county courts and your municipal courts. But I agree, there's a little bit of mystery that shrouds the Court of Appeals, and I'm hoping to clear that up.
Great. Now, what kind of skills do you bring to the office?
Well, as I indicated, I have a very well-rounded career. I've seen all kinds of things, definitely spent a lot of years in that role where you're standing next to people who are having truly their worst day, and understanding what is happening in the community. That's really, I think, one of the best elements that I'm going to be bringing to any bench that I serve on, particularly the 9th District Court of Appeals if I am elected, is just having a really good sense of community, knowing what the problems are that exist in the community, knowing what the benefits are that come with the communities, and using that information to be a community member and to be well involved with your community as a public servant, which your judges are.
So what kind of obstacles do you see that judges face, I guess, particularly in the 9th District? Is it more the cases you see? Is it just being able to work hand in hand these days, the way the politics have played into things? What do you see as some of the biggest obstacles to the judicial system?
I think the biggest obstacles really have to do with timing. We're still all kind of digging out from under COVID. One of the examples I gave when I spoke last week was we never closed. The courts never closed. We did change and have things become virtual, but you can only do so much by virtual means. You have to be physically present to have jury trials and that type of thing. So we're still all in the process of kind of digging out from underneath that. I would say that's the biggest challenge. But your courts are a necessary service, and so we never closed. We never stopped going to work. I was ill with COVID twice as a result of constantly, being in courts and being in contact with the public, and it's just part of the job.
Yeah. What type of leadership skills do you think you bring to the office?
Well, I think it should be noted that I have quite a lot of leadership skills for the stage of my career that I'm in. I realize that I've been an attorney for 17 years, and there are attorneys who are candidates who have been attorneys longer. Or judges longer. But I think that the mix between being a magistrate for almost 6 years and being an attorney for 11 is a really good sweet spot to be in. I understand what it's like to be in practice. It's not been so long ago that I forget what the demands are that are on regular people who are coming before the court, what the demands are on practicing attorneys, but it's also been enough time that I've been a practicing judicial officer to know how to feel comfortable being on the bench, to know the right kinds of questions to ask, to know the right kinds of things to look for in reviewing cases and researching and that type of thing. So those, I think, being well-rounded and having good time management skills. I think that a lot of candidates are very private about their family life. I think that's a benefit to me. I'm a mom of 2, a wife and mom of 2, and just like everybody else, just like every single person walking in to vote on November 8th or before, I have those same kinds of demands that are placed on me, and I understand what that's like, and it really just helps that much more to keep that time balance going.
Sure. So when the voters, like you just mentioned, the voters either going early or going in November to cast their ballot, when they walk in and they're looking to place their vote, what are they going to get if they select you in terms of for the Medina area or just for the residents in this area? What are they going to get if they select you?
Well, they're definitely going to get a public servant. They're getting a community-minded individual. Again, I don't live in Medina. I do have family in Medina County, so I do have a working knowledge of Medina County, but since I declared my candidacy in January, I've really made a very concerted effort to be in each of the other 3 counties that make up the 9th District Court of Appeals. And some of those counties are quite a drive, but that's just, again, part of being a public servant in those counties. So I really do feel like I've spent quite a lot of time trying to learn and understand Medina County, being present in your local businesses just to get a feel of how, what's on people's minds. I do offer a lot of times access to candidates is limited, but that is, to me, a very big thing, is accessibility. So I do occasionally do coffees and chats and just go sit in a local coffee shop for an hour and invite people to come ask questions. Of course, your judicial candidates have specific rules under which they have to follow when they run, ethical rules, of not talking about cases that could come before the court, not expressing their opinions on particular issues, that type of thing. But I'm very open about my experience and my service of the community. So Medina County and all the other counties served by the 9th District are getting someone who values their time, their community, who is as honest as possible and brings integrity and as much transparency as possible.
Sure. Now, of course, covering such a wide area as you just mentioned, and you talk to these constituents, do they seem to have the same questions or concerns regardless of the county, or what have you seen as you've had these?
They do. You're right. There are some hyper-local issues, of course, in each individual county, but most people really just want to know the people who are seeking to serve them. Sometimes it's unusual to people that they've met you. I definitely get, oh my gosh, you're the candidate, it's you. And that always surprises me and heartens me when people are excited to meet folks who are seeking to serve them. But also, I want to make that more of a common occurrence. That really feels like that should be something that's just a baseline. If somebody is an elected official, they, again, are serving a constituency, and I aim to be accessible to that constituency.
Great. We're again speaking with Erica Voorhees, candidate for the Court of Appeals 9th District. I want to thank you for taking time to answer some of the questions I had, but I also want to turn it over to you one last time, and if there's something you would like to talk to the voters directly about, the floor is yours.
Well, I appreciate all the time that you've taken with me and welcome the opportunity for any questions. The only thing I would like to add is there is lots of information about the way that I serve my community and my career. I would invite you to take a look at my website, voorheesforjudge.com. That's Voorhees, V as in Victor, OORHEES, forjudge.com, to get a little bit more information about how I've served my community. I'm a lifelong Northeast Ohio resident, so it does go back quite some time. And again, any questions are welcome. I do have an email address that you can link to on that website, as well as a phone number that does come directly to me via Google phone. So I am here for conversation about my credentials, qualifications, and experience.
Well, great. Again, that's Erica Voorhees for the Court of Appeals, the 9th District. And I want to thank you, number one, for even stepping up to run in November. And I want to wish you the best of luck this November.
Thank you so much, Jared.
Thank you.